Welcome to the Last Mark Standing, lastmarkstanding.com with your hosts, Damian Sawlty G and the Marky Smart Trina. You can find us on SoundCloud and iTunes, lastmarkstanding.com for your one-stop Last Mark Standing needs. Trina, we had a very interesting night the last 2 days. A lot going on in WWE. We don't really do reaction videos, but
no.
I feel this is one of those it needs to be said. And I don't think the people are going to like what I have to say. We talked off air about how I felt about Survivor Series.
Right.
I know how you feel about Survivor Series, but I don't think the audience that follows us religiously is going to, for the most part, agree with us.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm prepared for hate mail. I'm prepared for anger and vitriol and a whole bunch of smarky attitudes. So if you want to direct it to me, that's fine. At Dare to Be Damien on Twitter. Don't bother sending it to the Marky Smart. Send it all to me because I'm the guy who takes the slings and arrows and still keeps on smiling.
Right, exactly. Why don't you tell everybody how you feel? Yeah.
No. I wanted to build up to the crescendo because yesterday people were so angry and they were so pissed off. And part of me actually likes it because I actually enjoy organized chaos.
Right.
Because my name's Damian, and, you know, that's kind of what we do here when we're named Damian. We like chaos. So I will start by saying this. I didn't have a problem. I did not have a problem with Goldberg squashing Brock in 1 minute and 20 some odd seconds. A lot of you are out there complaining that a younger star should have gotten the rub, that they've wasted all that time building up Brock to be this indomitable beast of a man, only to be felled by a 49-year-old Goldberg. You know what I say to that? I don't care. What I care about was the fact that I screamed out, "Holy shit," while watching it with our friend of the show, Rick Castle, and I didn't believe what the hell I was seeing. I thought it was a joke at first. I'm thinking, okay, spear. He's going to kick out the jackhammer. We're going to get a spot fest of finishers. Or even the second spear, Ricky even asked me, he goes, "Oh, you think it's going to be a spear into an F5? I thought the second spear was going into an F5. Whoops. Yes, I was wrong. And then
pretty much everything
Goldberg. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I said pretty much everything you thought was going to happen didn't happen.
Oh, yeah, no, I pretty much went over. And I know the Ultimate Warrior felt the same way. We both kind of went over on Survivor Series picks. But I'm so glad I don't put money on these things. I had no problem with it. I marked out, I screamed, I yelled, I woke up people who were sleeping, and that was all fine and dandy, and I didn't have a problem with it. And I think the prevailing factor here is that wrestling is supposed to shock and amaze you, and it's supposed to keep you on your hands and knees or your hands and feet in anticipation to something that you don't anticipate. Exactly. Off your seat. Yeah. Me personally, pleasantly surprised, liked it, didn't care because it kept Brock strong. Reason why? Because it was only 3 moves. 1, Brock was surprised. He turned around into a spear. Number 2, he was struggling to get to his feet. He took a second spear. He took a jackhammer, and Goldberg held him up. And we talked about this, that Goldberg was going to hold him up for at least 2 seconds. And not like a quick flip around. You know what? The shock, I think Toronto flipped out. I love the reaction from social media because most of the people hated it. I liked it. And here's my complaint. Here's my saltiness. So a little salt for you, a little salt for you. Why are you bitching? I don't understand. Why are you complaining? Do not give me the whole a younger dude should have went over. Because if you start doing that, you start acting as if you're Vince McMahon, and we all know Vince McMahon isn't going to give you what you want. So stop hoping and stop praying that that's what's going to happen. So if you're surprised that Brock lost so quickly, Brock doesn't care. Brock's getting his $5 million a year. He's like, dude, if you want to throw a piece of feces on me for $5 million, be my guest. So I don't get the bitching and the moaning. Am I off base here, Trina?
You're not. I think the bitching and the moaning comes from the fact that everybody thinks that they're the best fantasy booker. With so much information out there now, and then the way that people discuss wrestling, especially within the podcast realm. I mean, everybody's trying to do predictions. Everybody's putting money on things, and everybody wants to be, 10 for 10 when it comes to the results of these pay-per-views. And I think people were just mad because, it was just not the way. It's not the way they would have booked it. It doesn't fit the storyline that they've sort of built up in their heads, and it really was Vince. To me, it was Vince just saying, like, F you to all the fans out there, whether you thought he was going to win or lose, or I don't know. To me, it was a pretty firm statement that, whatever you think is going to happen, we're going to do the opposite of it, and we don't really care what your reaction is. And if you're pissed off about it, then we did our job.
That's exactly what it is. Everybody was so pissed off that it garnered more interest in the product, especially from the casual fan. Because if you're watching ESPN and you're watching SportsCenter and you see Bill Goldberg destroying Brock Lesnar in less than 2 minutes, especially since Brock Lesnar is supposedly one of the baddest men in the world, aren't you going to want to tune in to see what's going to happen next? I mean, that's basic common